Hey guys, I'm Alex Hollings, editor-in-chief of Sandboxx News and the disembodied voice behind our Air Power series here on YouTube. And if it feels kind of weird to be seeing me while I talk, I want you to know that I feel kind of weird about it too. I like hiding behind voiceover. But sometimes I run across stories that are really interesting or entertaining, but I just couldn't make into a full episode of Air Power. So instead, I usually share those things on my TikTok account, but I thought I'd start posting more of it here on YouTube. So let me know if you like this kind of short-form, unscripted content, and I'll do more of it. If you don't, let me know, and no harm, no foul, I'll stick to business as usual. But today, I want to talk to you about just how crazy the guns are on America's fixed-wing aircraft. And the best way I can think of to describe it to you is with visual aids. So I have examples here of 5 common types of ammunition that you might find if you served in America's military or even among many of America's allies. Starting from small ammunition that we might carry on our person, and then moving all the way up to the big dogs that you fire from platforms like the M61 Vulcan series of cannons or the GAU-8 Avenger carried by the A-10. Now, you might think you're familiar with these rounds, but unless you've ever actually seen them in person or held them in your hands, you're probably gonna be shocked by just how big they are by the end of this video. So let's dive right into it. So let's start on the small end of things with the 9mm round. Now, a lot of you are probably already familiar with this round. Don't mind the steel jacket. This is actually an old bullet I pulled out of a toolbox from my days in Vermont, but it'll do to provide you with a sense of scale. The 9mm round is the round you'd find carried in America's M17 and M18 Sig Sauer service pistols, as well as in the Beretta back in my day when I carried it in the Marine Corps. And if you compare this 9mm round to a 5.56 round, like you might fire out of an M16 or an M4, you immediately get a sense that the 9mm round is pretty small, although it is quite a bit huskier. The 9mm round is quite a bit smaller than the 5.56. Now, the 5.56 is obviously a dangerous round. It is the most common round carried by all NATO service personnel, but this round is still really, really small as compared to the 50 cal round that you might fire out of a machine gun like the M2. Now, if you spend any time in uniform, you may have even had a chance to fire some of these. You almost certainly fired some of these. The 50 cal round is massive in comparison to the 5.56, and as most people already know, it can just devastate a target. But as big as this 50 cal round is, and it is really big, it's still really small compared to the 20mm rounds fired by the M61 series of Vulcan cannons carried by America's fighters, like the F-15, F-16, F-A-18, and F-22. What makes this 20mm round even scarier is the fact that it's fired at a mind-boggling 6,000 rounds per minute, or around 100 rounds per second. Now, that not only means that these fighters can deliver just a devastating laser beam of either armor-penetrating or incendiary ammunition to their targets, but it also means they run out of ammo really fast. The F-16 only carries around 511 of these, which means only about enough for about 5 seconds of sustained fire. But no fighter pilot's actually going to hold the trigger down for 5 full seconds. There's just no need to, and very few combat situations in which you even would. So you can usually get a couple of strafing runs out of that 511 rounds. And as big as these 20mm rounds are, and they are really big, they're still tiny compared to the massive 30mm rounds fired by the A-10's GAU-8 Avenger. Now, the A-10, as you probably already know, is effectively an aircraft built around a weapon system. The GAU-8 is a 20-foot-long, 620-pound, 7-barrel autocannon that, when you add the hopper and all the ammunition to, weighs more than 4,000 pounds. This weapon is so big that the front landing gear on the A-10 is offset to allow room for it in the fuselage. And what's even crazier is, although it's not as fast as the M61, the A-10 can still deliver these rounds to its target at a rate of 65 rounds per second. That's 3,900 rounds per minute. Now, originally, they could fire these rounds at a rate of either 2,100 or 4,200 rounds per minute, but eventually they just switched to a steady 3,900 rounds per minute, or 65 rounds per second. We're talking about what is effectively a depleted uranium laser beam that A-10 pilots fire at their targets from ranges as far away as 4,000 feet and as close as 1,500 feet or even closer. So how do they do that? Well, they eat a whole lot of bullets along the way. The A-10 pilot rides in a titanium tub that protects them from small arms fire, and it really needs to. It is not at all uncommon for A-10s to fly all the way home after sustaining serious damage, even from weapons like man-pads. In fact, there are stories about A-10 pilots flying their aircraft home after complete hydraulic failure, using levers and pulleys to manage the control surfaces. The A-10 is an astonishing aircraft, and it is built around an absolutely amazing weapon system. The GAU-8 Avenger is a weapon from your nightmares. Firing 65 of these per second is about as crazy as a weapon is going to come. And that's all I've got for you guys today for this really short story on Sandboxx News. Again, let me know if you guys like this short form content without a script. If you don't, no harm, no foul. If you love it, I've got a bunch more on my TikTok account, and I'll get more like this coming to you guys soon. Do me a favor and swing by sandboxnews.com if you like our air power videos, because we've got a bunch of air power articles that you'll probably like too. And of course, make sure to swing by every Friday at 2:30 for a new episode of Air Power every week. Thanks, guys.